Hey guys, today I was debating a lot about doing this. I was debating a lot because I don't know how people will take this. I don't know how they would react. But I'm doing this, because I have felt in my heart to do this. Especially with everything going on, the whole coronavirus stuff, the whole, children being used, being abused, assaulted. It's sad that we're having to see stuff like this that's going on in this world. Sometimes it's with our close ones. Sometimes it's you know people that we don't even know and that we see on the news. And with this being said, what I'm about to say is my testimony. What I'm about to say is something that happened to me, something that I experienced as a child. I don't wish this upon anybody. I don't wish this on my worst enemy. I don't wish this, to happen to anybody that I know or that I don't know. Um, it's been a rough time, sometimes trying to get through this. It's been hard, trying to not think about it. Sometimes it's hard when it's affected your life, the majority part of your life. And I'm not saying this, to have petty, to you know draw petty towards me. I'm not saying this, for attention. I'm not saying this to make people feel bad for me. No, I'm not doing that for that. I'm doing this because sometimes it's good to testify about your experience, if it means helping somebody else that's going through it and you don't even know. I personally don't know if anybody's going through this, but like I was speaking to one of a good friend of mine. We recently, started talking about this, and she told me that sometimes you don't know if somebody's going through it until either somebody speaks up about it, or they simply just ask, "Are you okay? Is there anything I can help with? I'm here, and your information is secure with me." And I told her, I told her my backstory. I told her, what I've been through. I told her, my experience. And thankfully, and thank to God that she was understanding. And she was very compassionate. She was very humble and honest, with me about all this. And it's good when you can confide in somebody and tell them, what you've been through, just to relate with things that have been happening in this world lately. I know that sometimes subjects like this can be very delicate, so I don't expect to, to fully listen to me, or I don't expect you to, understand, but just hear me out. I was 6 years old, and again, this is my testimony. This is something I went through, and this is not anything that I saw on TV or, on a movie or anything like that. But I was 6 years old when I was first sexually assaulted by my stepfather, which now, time takes its place. Everything happens for a reason. I was 6 years old when I was sexually assaulted by my stepfather. I didn't know what was going on, obviously, because I was a child. My mom was not home. It was just me and my brother. And I'm not going to get into full details just because, I don't want to be, I don't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable. But I was 6 years old when I was sexually assaulted. I was in elementary school. So you can't imagine what a elementary kid would think, or what to do when stuff like that happens. I didn't say anything because I didn't know what was going on. I was 6 years old. That was my first encounter. So I went to school like that. I woke up that morning, nervous and scared, but I went to school like that. As you can imagine, a 6 year old at elementary school, around her friends, feeling weird, feeling funny. I just went on like nothing. I never said anything just because I was always scared about the worst happening to me. I was always scared that I would, be seen as the one getting attention. I would always be seen. I didn't want to be the one, to cause problems. And this actually went on for 10 years. For 10 years, I was used as a sex toy. I was sexually abused. I I didn't have a say. There would be times that I would say something, but it was just thrown over their shoulders. There would be times where I would threaten and be like, I'm going to tell, I'm going to say this, I'm going to say that, I'm going to tell my mom, or I'm going to tell my family, or I'm going to call 911, but I actually never did. Why? Because I was always timid, and I was always scared that my family would be mad at me. I don't want to get emotional because for me to say this, even to begin this, I am considering myself very strong. It still hurts, obviously, it still hurts, but I know that everything happens for a reason. I know that this feeling was not for me, and I know that this testimony will help somebody. But to continue, this happened for 10 years. I always told my mom, sometimes I would tell her, and it would just go over her head, But as I got older, obviously, the female's body tends to develop, it tends to change. So it drove him a little bit more, to do stuff more as time went by. And at that point, when I was 15, 16, I told myself I'm going to get baptized. I thought that this was the easy way out. I thought this was going to, solve everything. I thought, it was going to be over with. I decided to get baptized because obviously, I wanted to get baptized and give my life to God. But I was also hoping that getting baptized in Jesus' name, that he would see that and he would see, oh, well, she's serious. I have to stop because I have to stop. Because she's committing her life to God. And I was hoping for that. I was hoping for him to stop. I was hoping for him to no longer do anything to me, no longer touch me, no longer abuse me, sexually, mentally, and physically. But no, that was the last thing on his mind. That was my desires and my hope, went out the window, because obviously a pedophile will be a pedophile. I'm sorry to use those words, but a pedophile will always be a pedophile. And he kept going like if it was nothing. He kept doing his stuff like if it was nothing. When I tell you that I fought for my life, I fought for my life. People don't see what happens behind doors. People don't see what's behind your heart, basically behind the doors. They don't see that. We played the perfect Christian family when we were together. We played the perfect Christian family. We would dress up every Friday, dress up every Sunday, go to church, blah, 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 and just put on the perfect Christian image. But once behind doors, it was nothing like that compared to how we would be at church. Obviously, he held roles, he held a ministry, and I was in the choir, and I don't consider myself a good singer, but I was in the choir, and I would be helpful around places that I was being used for, and always willing to help in that area. So when I was at church, obviously I had to put on my church clothes. I had to pretend nothing was going on. I had to pretend that was a piece of me that didn't exist outside of behind on the other side of the door. And sadly, sometimes people don't see that, because you do put on your Sunday's best. You put on, basically we were dressing up. It sucks that, I had to go through that. It sucks that I had to put my family through that. But I know that everything happens for a reason. Obviously my church didn't see what was going on because I never said anything. They only knew the things that were happening when I spoke about them. Thankfully, to this day, I still have a close relationship with two of my friends from that church. But when people don't speak about this, they don't expect that it's happening. When you don't say, oh, this is happening to me, or guys, I need this, or guys, I need help, nobody expects anything, not even from somebody else, So it was hard. It was hard putting on that mask. It was hard putting on that costume, every Friday, every Sunday, go to church, and I was a teenager, I was a teenager. And obviously sometimes when you're in the teenager phases, your mind, doesn't think like it should, or it doesn't think like an adult. And it finally came to where when I turned 16, was it 16, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22? Yeah, it was roughly 16, closer to 17. It was 16. I I was physically abused before everything happened. The day before, I was physically abused because I rejected him. I fought for my life. I was hit. I was choked. I was punched. I was slapped. My clothes was torn off of me because I was fighting back. Because I told myself enough is enough. I'm like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes, for me to get out of this, for me to no longer live like this. And my brother was at soccer practice. So when I got off the bus, it was just me and him. And it's scary because every single time I would get off the bus and I knew that my brother, didn't ride the bus home with me, I knew it was gonna happen. I knew something was gonna happen. I knew that he was gonna try to do something, and I was terrified. I was terrified to get off the bus. And sometimes I would lie to my mom, and I would say that I'm staying after school for sports practice. So yeah, my mom did know 2 times, but obviously, she didn't know what to do, or she didn't know if, I was telling the truth or not. But obviously she never did anything. I love my mom now. I mean, I've always loved her, but at that time I hated her, because she wasn't helping me. She wasn't the mom that I wish she was, that I wish she was at that time. But now I love my mom, but that's, besides the point. It was hard, trying to cover everything up, and obviously my brother, all along throughout this time, he knew something was up because we would be in the room together, and he would hear stuff, and my, stepdad, he would try to put up the volume on the TV or play the music loud or whatever. And he would always come in there and be like, hey, what's going on? And, I'd be like, oh, well, he's helping with something, or I'm helping him with something, or whatever, We would always make something up, but my brother always knew. My brother always knew something was going on, and in my heart, when everything happened, I felt sorry for him because I had to put him through that. But at the end of the day, he tells me, it's like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry that I couldn't do something, I'm sorry that I didn't speak up, or I'm sorry that I couldn't defend you, but he was my little brother, I'm older than him. And so at that time, he didn't know what to do. But he obviously saw that something was wrong because he saw my bruises. He's like, what happened? And I'm like, oh, this is after the fact that they had come back from picking him up or whatever. He's like, what happened? I was like, oh, I just fell. I fell at practice or something, I just made a lie up. And that ended there. And my mom got home finally, after working a double shift, poor her. And my mom asked me too, she's like, what's wrong? And I was like, oh, nothing. And we had gone into a big argument as well after that. After the fact that she got home that same day, that she got home, we got into a big argument. Things were thrown. I was so mad, especially after everything. I was so mad. I threw a pan. I was in the kitchen and I just wanted them to leave me alone, to not talk to me, or I was trying to get my point across. I threw a pan, because I was so mad. I threw so much stuff was said, people were hurt, I was hurt mentally, physically, sexually. I was hurt and I was overwhelmed. 16-year-old, 17-year-old, she didn't know what to do. She didn't know how to cope. And I called it a night. I was like, you know what? Leave me alone. Don't talk to me. Yamin, leave me alone. Mom, leave me alone. Pedophile of a stepfather, leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you. And I went to my room and I fell asleep. I was scared of that night. I was scared that night, of him coming into the room and doing something to me. So I slept with the door locked. Me and my brother, I think we shared a room back then. So I waited for him to come into the room for him to sleep. And I locked the door. and the next morning, it was summertime. I'm not lying to you. It was February 24th. February 24th. I don't remember. Honestly, I shouldn't remember this day because, you know, it's nothing to remember. Nothing special to remember. But it was February 24th. That morning, I had to go to a dentist appointment. And I remember that day just because I went to a dentist appointment and I was wearing, when I started my freshman year, I started wearing skirts. So I was wearing a skirt and a t-shirt and my sneakers. And after that, when my mom dropped me off at school, you know, because I had to go into school late because of my appointment, I changed. I immediately changed and I put on sweatpants, and it was summertime, guys. This was summertime, and the things that I had to do to cover this up so people won't ask questions. I was in high school by this time. So I got to school and I had my clothes in my book bag. And I got to school and I changed. I put on a pair of sweatpants and a long sleeve turtleneck shirt. Excuse me. And people were like, "Core, are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Why?" And they're like, "It's 90 degrees outside." Excuse me, 80, 90 degrees outside. And you're wearing sweatpants and a long sleeve turtleneck shirt or whatever. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." I was like, "I just want to burn." I just made some stupid excuse, which I don't even remember. But thank God that I got to my third period class. I was in Mr. Knight's class. My friend Georgie, she knows. I think, I'm not sure if I told Georgie or Kristen. It was one of those two. But I was in Mr. Knight's class, and I don't know if, I really don't know how it happened. I just thank God that it happened. I either was telling a friend about it, or my teacher was overhearing our conversation. And, you know, as a state authority, or, you know, especially being in the school system, they have the right to report stuff like that. Doesn't matter if they misheard it, doesn't matter what it is, you know, they legally have to report that. So we went on, through Mr. Knight's class, and we left, and I went to my math class. I went to one class and then my math class. I think my math class was the last one, if I'm not mistaken. I went to math class like normal, got to class, sat down, started doing my work, blah, blah, blah. And my teacher, what was his name? I don't remember his name. But my teacher got a call from the office that they were needing Cole Ruda in the office, at the counselor's office. And he tells me, and I was like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "I don't think, I'll think you'll come back. They just said that they need to ask you a few questions." And I'm like, "Okay." So I'll leave my stuff there and I go to the office. And immediately when I walked in, I saw a lady with her defects badge, and I saw the principal and the counselor. I told myself I was going to get emotional because I'm strong. And I want to be strong for y'all. And I saw them, and I was like, I knew this was going to happen. And I was scared. I was frightened, but I was relieved. And my hope was starting to come back. Until this day, I'm grateful for them. So that night, that day, I didn't go back to math class. My stuff was brought to the office from a friend. I didn't go back to math class. Questions started coming out. Stuff started coming out from my side. Pictures were taken of my body, where I still had the bruises up. They were fresh, like they were fresh on my body. Pictures were taken, and at the end of the day, my parents were called to the school. My brother was picked up from school, and they went straight to school, and it was, I think 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. And they told us, "We're removing y'all from your home." And at that point, I was scared, because I saw my mom, and I was like, okay, that's fine. It's for my own good, and it's for my brother's own good. Sadly, my brother was removed from the home, even though he wasn't a victim. But, with the whole investigation going on, he had to be removed, from the home as well. So that night, I told the caseworker, I thank God for Miss Sarah Tucker. She made the process a little bit easier.
and more calmer. I wasn't scared to death. I was scared a little bit, but not to the point to where I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I was gonna be safe. My relief of I knew I was gonna be safe. I knew that nothing was ever gonna happen to me. I knew that he wasn't gonna touch me no more. I knew that I wasn't gonna be abused anymore. I was relieved. I told my brother, I was like, I'm sorry, and he was, I think 8, 9, 10, around that age. But he didn't understand what was going on. And I understood that. I understood that he didn't know what was going on. And I told my caseworker, I was like, I want to stay together. I am pulling him through this, but I want to stay together. And she's like, it's hard because there's not foster parents or there's not foster parents or a house that accepts siblings together, because we just don't have that option. I was like, okay. So that night, we leave. As I walk out of the office, my brother's being taken with me, and I see my mom and my stepdad, and my mom, she's broken down, and I just look at her, and I tell her, I'm like, I love you, I'm sorry. Oh, before that, they also questioned them. They questioned my stepdad. Obviously, nobody was taken into custody that night because, the investigation was still going on. So, they asked him questions, and they, try to get on the same page. And I didn't know what was said because they were taken into a separate room, Private investigators were there. The defects officer was there. Everybody that needed to be there was there. I thank God that these people were so gentle and loving and careful with me, and with my brother. So when all the information was collected that needed to be collected, me and my brother left the school with my caseworker, with Miss Tooker. And I just turned around, looked at my mom, and I was like, I'm sorry, but I love you, And I left. And I wasn't able to see my parents then or my mom then. I didn't care about my stepfather. I just cared about my mom. We left. We went to the DFACS office in Rome, Georgia. This all happened in Rome, Georgia. And we got belongings, like we got clothes that fitted us. We got hygiene stuff, toothbrush, toothpaste, stuff like that, because we weren't able to go back home and get stuff at that moment. And we went to go drop my brother off, and I was scared, because we had to be separated. But I knew that he was going to be okay. It was a private home, a private foster home with other boys. And thankfully to this day, I'm glad that he had a good house, and good people, to watch out for him. We dropped him off, and then, sorry, I'm trying to stay put together. We dropped him off, and then we went to, my house. My private home. I thank God. I thank God for this because he knew the people he was putting in my life. He knew exactly what I needed. He knew exactly where I needed to go. So, this house was placed, this was in Adairsville, Georgia. I thank God for my mama Gay. Her name is Gay Holt. I'm not putting this out there so she can get attention or so she can get recognized or anything like that. No, I'm putting this out there so she knows that I love her so much. She knows that, she holds a special place in my heart. She taught me so much. When I was in that home, girls came in and out. Some of them left, voluntarily, and some of them left because, they could leave. But throughout this time, I had 4 other girls with me at the same time that I was there. And one of them came in new, and another one did too, I think. And that night, I got there, and, they were in the living room when I got there. I met my mama Gay at the door, And that night, I just cried. I cried all night. She showed me to my room. Everybody had their separate beds. So thankfully, this was a private group home, a private girls' home. So when it's private, it means that there's less girls or less kids. and they're more focused on providing attention to a certain amount of kids or teenagers. When it's a group home, there's a whole lot more kids, a whole lot more teenagers in one facility, with more like guardians. But luckily with me, it was just my mama gay. It was just my mama gay, and 4 or 5 other girls. But that night, I just cried. I cried to sleep because I didn't know what was going on. And the next day, obviously, I had to go to the doctors and all that. But that's besides the point. So I say this today. I did end up in foster care, because of everything that happened, and while the investigation was going. So with all this said, I know it's been a lot, and to those who have been, with me throughout this whole time, hearing me, after all this, he was how do you say it? Convicted? Or no. Well, he was sentenced. He was sentenced to 35 years for sexual abuse, sexual harassment, battery, aggravated assault, and there was something else. But I can't remember that. He was sentenced for 35 years. His family hates me. His family holds stuff against me, which at this point in my life, I really don't care. My well-being came first. My well-being came first. My family came first. I came first in this case scenario. They obviously hate me, and I'm fine with that, because I don't need no relationship with them. I don't need no friendship, no nothing. I don't need nothing from them. The one thing that I do want to say, though, is that if you know somebody that's going through this, speak up. If you know somebody that is told you, hey, I'm going through this, but don't say anything, you can ask for forgiveness later and just make sure that they're safe. I wish I had somebody that was like that with me. But no. That one time that I did speak up, they did something, and I'm grateful for that. But all along I have been focusing on this whole exposing pedophiles, and speaking up and helping those who are being affected by this. We don't know what goes behind people's doors. We don't know what goes on in their household. So with this, I know that it's sensitive. I know that it's something very personal. Not a lot of people knew about this. Only my close people that I hold close to my heart knew about this. But I encourage to notice the signs. I encourage for you to speak up. I encourage for you to put your foot down and speak up. If you're going through this, I'm here. If you're going through this, it is scary at the beginning, but I encourage you to speak up. If you don't want to speak up or you're scared to, reach out to me. I'm not a pro. I didn't practice for this. But I want to help. This is my testimony. This is what I've gone through. And like I was telling one of my good friends that I've gotten closer to these past few days, I want to help the next one. I want to help the next one from having to go through so much like I did. If it's been going on for 3 weeks, let's stop it there. Let's not let it go off to 10 years like mine. If it's going on for a month, let's stop it there. But sometimes it's hard for us to know what to do when somebody comes to you with that information, I would say watch out for the signs of bruising, closing themselves off, physical abuse, obviously, their way of thinking, their way of talking, the way of their acting. Like I said, when we go to church or when we come to our family stuff, we would put on a costume. But sometimes there's small details, there's small details that gives them away. Like the way people, or the way that males talk to females, the way that older men talk to younger girls. You know, you could see the signs. I just ask that, you know, that let's save the next one. You know, let's save the next one. Let's end the chain with the pedophiles. It sucks, you know, that this world has come up to that, and that there's people or girls, even guys, that are being treated like this. But I know that with everything going on, we're learning that sometimes it's the easy way. With everything going on, I know it's easy, you know, just to throw it on our shoulders and be like, oh, well, it's not happening to us, or it's not happening to somebody close to us, or it's not happening, you know, next door to us, you know. No, it's just about saving the next one, and doing what's right. I know that this hasn't been easy. For me, myself, it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been something that it's been easy to talk about, but I know that I have felt this feeling to do it for a reason, to speak out, to save the next one, to make a change, and put a stop to it. And again, I don't ask this for attention. I'm not asking for attention. I'm not doing this for attention. I'm not doing this for you to feel pity for me. No, I'm doing this because this is my testimony, and it was time for me to share it. Obviously, you know, at church now, we can't really testify or anything like that. So this is my way of testifying it, because it was time. It was time for me to do it. I'm okay. You know, I've healed from then, and I'm grateful for Sarah Tucker. I'm grateful for my Pepperell High School staff, you know, that helped me throughout this whole thing. I'm grateful for that friend and for Mr. Knight that probably reported this that day. I'm grateful for my mama Gay. Obviously, very, very, very grateful for her that she was able to open the doors for me. I'm grateful for my family, you know, because despite everything that happened, you know, we're still a family, you know. Sometimes it is brought up with me and my mom, but that's, you know, just to touch base, you know, to make sure we're actually okay, you know. But I'm grateful for what this has done to me, because without me speaking up that day, or without my teacher turning that information in, I wouldn't be where I am now. I wouldn't be where I am now, and I'm grateful for that. I wouldn't be who I am now. I don't want y'all to treat me any different, because that's in the past. Because it's just my testimony. It's not something I'm going through now. No, it's just it's what's built me up to be the person that I am now. But I am grateful for those who have known, or that do know, that I've opened up to them about this before. I'm grateful for them. I'm grateful for Eglan Midian. Yes, I'm putting their names out there, because we've disconnected when it first started, but I'm grateful for them now, because they've been one of my biggest supporters. Especially, you know, my church people now, you know. Not a lot of my friends from my church know, because it's not something you lightly talk about. It's not something that you bring up, you know, at a normal conversation. But I'm grateful for them, because hopefully after this, they continue to be the support system that I need, or that, you know, somebody deserves. But I just wanted to do this right quick, you know, and just put this out there. You know, it's my testimony, and I hope that this testimony reaches out to somebody that's going through the same thing, or that's, you know, just starting and you just don't know how to stop it, or you don't know a way out. So like I said, reach out to me, you know, always speak up, even if it's to one friend. That friend can do a big impact in your life. Reach out to your pastor's wife, to your youth leader. Reach out to somebody. It doesn't matter who it is, even if it's police authority. Reach out to somebody, because it is not right for a male or a female to go through this. It is not right to be sexually abused. It is not right to be physically abused, you know, emotionally abused, and stuff like that. I do want to share 2 Chronicles 20:17. It says, Ye shall not need to fight in this battle. Set yourselves, stand ye still, and see the salvation of the Lord with you. Basically saying, we're not fighting this alone. God is fighting this battle for us. But my testimony, this is how I fought my battle. And I'm standing here now telling you, this is how I'm fighting my battle. And I hope and I pray that this testimony has reached out to somebody, or I hope that this testimony is changing somebody's life for the good. but yeah, I am grateful for this opportunity, and I'm grateful for myself, and for God, that He was able to put this feeling in my heart to do this. So I just ask that you keep me and my family, in your prayers, and that we continue to be the family that we are, and that our bond grows closer each day, especially with me and my mom and my brother. Um, but yeah, I'm thankful. I don't know how to end this, but I'm thankful that you have allowed me to do this. And just let's save the next one. That's really all I can say. Because nobody deserves this. So yeah. So God bless you guys, and hopefully we will end this soon. Bye.